Hi there, folks. A good Sunday evening to you. Rain is kind of a talker of the day, at least in the weather department. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Cutter Martin here to give you a check of the First Alert forecast on Atlanta News First Plus, ANF Plus. Here we're streaming across a variety of digital platforms, Roku, Amazon Fire. We're also streaming on Apple TV, AtlantaNewsFirst.com, and the news app, the Atlanta News First app, also the First Alert weather app. All here to give you a check of the forecast, whether you watch in the morning or the evening. The entire team, of course, has been alerting you to this really kind of a washout of a Sunday, back half of the weekend that we've endured. It's still, I was just outside a few moments ago, still gloomy, still drizzly, but I think that the last bit of steadier or heavier rain has now pushed east of metro Atlanta. So the good news here, we have rain moving out of the forecast this evening. It's going to take a little bit of time. And we'll get a couple days worth of a break, about 48 to 60 hours of no rain, and then first alert Wednesday morning. Showers and thunderstorms in the forecast could slow and impact that morning commute. But let's talk about this evening's weather because it's an improvement in the forecast, and we're noticing that the steadiest of the rain has shifted to the east of metro Atlanta. We're not completely done inside the metro. We're not completely done Atlanta, but notice where the yellows and the oranges are located, from Social Circle, Georgia, down to just east of Griffin, Athens, Clark County, Oconee County, heading up towards Toccoa and Toccoa Falls, here up into northeast Georgia, Rabun County, the Clayton community. That is where the rain is steady. Also zooming down in to Madison, Georgia, Greensboro, Georgia, Lakes St. Clair and Oconee. If you spent a weekend on the lake, you had the clouds yesterday, but you certainly had the rain and cold temperatures today. With all the clouds and the moisture around, temperature stayed in the 40s. Most areas still in the 40s at the moment. I'll have a fresh look at numbers here in just a bit, but do want to give you an update on the rain first. So the back half, as I pause radar, of the steadier rain extends from the western edge of Rabun County on down to the kind of eastern Hall County line, down to about Social Circle, Georgia, the Griffin area, and then on down to about the Albany area. And you can see to the east of that line, they are still dealing with widespread showers, a couple of thunderstorms here down in south and southeast Georgia. And to the northwest of that line, while it's not completely dry, it is certainly drier, more of a drizzle than a steady to heavy rain. In fact, we'll zoom down in a little bit closer here, put radar back in motion, and you can see Paulding County, the Dallas area, Cobb County, Marietta, Carrollton and Carroll County, Douglasville and Douglas County. There is still a little bit of moisture here, but it's light, so it's going to keep it damp this evening. But we're going to get rid of the steady rain and go back to more of just a drizzle and maybe some spotty rain showers. The drying trend has begun. Of course, it's going to take some time before we really dry out. And it's chilly outside. As mentioned before, we were stuck in the 40s all day. Thank you, clouds and rain, for that. 41 right now in Woodstock. 43 downtown Atlanta, as well as East Point, Conyers 43, Marietta 43, Sandy Springs 42. Up on the far north side and northeast side, that's where the chilliest air is. 42 at Georgia 400 and State Route 20. Alpharetta in the lower 40s, Flowery Branch, Beaufort Academy, and Beaufort proper both in the lower 40s. 42 Dawsonville, 43 up on the far north side, and 40 incoming. Getting up into Forsyth County, Cartersville 44, Dallas 44. And off to the south and west, it is a little bit, quote unquote warmer. That was still very chilly as rain moves out. 47 in LaGrange, 44 Carrollton. Of course, that's still jacket weather, but it beats the low to mid 40s and the deeper blues there. Even some upper 30s up in the mountains of North Georgia, the upstate of South Carolina. That is where the wedge of cold air, chilly air, is kind of locked in place this evening. All right, let's bring you the hour-by-hour forecast. Forecast model doing a pretty decent job with where rain is right now, showing it pushing east pretty quickly of metro Atlanta by 10 p.m. So later this evening, low to mid 40s, there will still be some moisture. There will still be some drizzle and spotty rain showers, but it's not the rain we had earlier today. Certainly not the rain we woke up to this morning. It was pouring, the thunder and lightning in the wee hours of this morning. Nonetheless, still kind of damp outside, but by 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, we even get rid of the isolated showers. Breeze takes hold. The clouds still there in scattered fashion. I think we'll wake up to a mix of sun and clouds on your Monday morning. And notice as I pause forecast radar here, There could be a few sleet pellets, maybe even some snow flurries here up in the mountains of far north Georgia. Basically, we have an area of low pressure passing off to our north and east, and the flow behind that is northwesterly. We have some cold air wrapping in, and that is going to set the stage for some pretty decent snow up in the highest elevations of the Appalachians outside of the Atlanta News First viewing area. And locally, what that means is that our mountains could see just a little bit of snow activity, really flurries, if anything. That's about all this is going to add up to. But again, that northwest flow is going to pull in some colder air. We wake up to 30s tomorrow morning, lower 40s on the south side, even 10 a.m. Still 42 in Atlanta, still 33 in Blairsville, 36 in Clayton. That's mid-morning tomorrow. So Blue Ridge, Helen, Ivy Log, a cold Monday is on the way with scattered clouds, a few mountain and far north Georgia flurries and sleet pellets. No accumulation there in Atlanta. We will struggle to get the 50. Forecasting a high temperature of 50 in Atlanta tomorrow, so that means the vast majority of the day spent in the 40s. 47 in Gainesville on the northeast side, Hall County, Forsyth County stuck in the 40s on up into the mountains of North Georgia. And in fact, probably some lower 40s up in Blue Ridge, Helen, Ivy Log, Clayton, and Toccoa. Some of our northern and northeastern communities and neighborhoods in the low to mid 40s all day long. 48 in Rome, Noonan on the southwest side, about 50. So it's going to be chilly, and it will be brisk tomorrow. That breeze is going to be more noticeable than today, a little stronger than today's wind, a little bit gustier through the afternoon, so just a heads up. A little bit colder feeling tomorrow. Even though the actual temperatures may be warmer, it is going to be feeling very, very chilly. Some folks commenting on Facebook. Ricky Parrish watching on this Sunday night. Hello to you, Ricky. Max Goof, hello from Snellville. Matt is watching from Decula. Max is saying, I think the line is for thunderstorms, rain and thunderstorms possible on our Wednesday morning. That is the next first alert in the forecast. We're going to get to that in just a moment. Alexander Foster, Tuesday night into Wednesday, is there any severe potential? Good news. While we're not going to say zero risk, it's a very low risk, and it's mainly along the I-10 corridor. We'll talk about the setup here in just a moment. Just want to make sure I'm kind of getting to some of these questions coming in. Matt, Max, Alexander, Tracy, Wesley, Max as well, Ricky, and Michael. Looks like I got everybody checking in on YouTube. Again, we're live 2 main platforms this evening. Atlanta News First on Facebook. Give it a like and a follow. You'll be alerted to live conversations like this and updates to the forecast. Also on YouTube on Atlanta News First. Max is commenting there as well. Trent Martin, fist bump right back at you. And Gerald Jackson also watching on the Atlanta News First YouTube account. All right, let's talk about Wednesday. Good ask. Glad you're paying attention to next Wednesday's forecast. Basically, we have a very impactful storm system that will form in the southern plains and right eastward, impacting the south and the southeast. Here is the factor for Wednesday, your next first alert. We're going to have a very quick moving line of rain and thunderstorms moving through. And they appear to move through between about 2-3 a.m. at the earliest Wednesday and about 9-10 a.m. at the latest Wednesday, Metro Atlanta specific for that particular timeline. So kind of centered in on the morning commute, maybe just before, and there will be the potential of a few strong storms, but the greater risk of severe weather is going to be off to the south along the I-10 corridor, well south of the Atlanta News First viewing area. Nonetheless, while the risk is very low, we're not formally outlooked in a risk of severe weather yet. Just looking at the general setup, I do think it's worth paying attention to our Wednesday forecast, and there could be, like this morning, some booming thunderstorms, some loud thunder, along with that brief heavy rain Wednesday morning. And I also do think that the risk of a gusty thunderstorm or two may be producing some wind gusts, 50, 55 miles an hour. It's possible Wednesday, especially south of I-20, so that will be something. It is something that we are watching as we get into Wednesday, but no, not forecasting any widespread severe weather. Certainly a lesser risk of severe weather locally and especially north of I-20 than what we have had with these past few storm systems passing through. Here is a layout of that 7-day forecast. Again, we'll be fine-tuning the Wednesday outlook, but it does look like the greatest risk of severe weather, and good question there on Facebook, will be staying to the south of North Georgia, to the south of the Atlanta News First viewing area. But it is something we're going to be watching closely, about 60 to 72 hours between now and the arrival of this front, this system. There could be some subtle changes, all the more reason to just keep a casual eye on that forecast, and why we give you the first alert, the heads up that there is the potential for storms and the weather will impact you. Maybe slow that morning drive at the very least. You'll encounter some puddles and wet kind of lingering wet conditions on the Wednesday morning commute, but I do think it's possible. Some folks, especially the east side of town, you're driving to work, trying to get the kiddos to school and to the bus stop as these storms kind of roll through North Georgia Wednesday morning. Good news, though, that system is moving quicker than the one we had today, so it's not an all-day rain. It's a morning risk of showers and thunderstorms Wednesday. And then we're quickly back to much colder air. Look at that, 38 Thursday, freeze in the forecast officially at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport next Friday morning. And a heads up, tomorrow night, Monday night and Tuesday morning, also forecasting a very light freeze, very normal for January on our Tuesday morning before the clouds roll back in. 20% chance of rain Tuesday. That is for really the late evening hours. Couple showers possible. And that 20% Monday is mainly for our North Georgia mountains and mainly early in the day. Some sprinkles, some snow flurries possible early in the day Monday. And could see some snow flurries, very light snow. No big issues with accumulation, though, especially the highest elevations of far North Georgia on our Monday. And then we're back to cold weather at 49, a brisk day. It'll be windy Wednesday and it'll be windy Thursday, but you're going to notice it more Thursday with the cold air filtering in. And again, struggling to get to 50 Friday. I think another freeze is possible Saturday morning. If not, certainly that risk of frost in the forecast Saturday morning. And then Sunday, clouds roll back in, and it looks like the following week, so not this coming work week, not tomorrow's Monday, but looking ahead to the following Monday, I believe that would be January 30th, the week of January 30th. Forecast looks pretty unsettled. Basically, we're going to have some cold air entering the United States at the same time, a little ridge of high pressure kind of building up along the southeast, and all that means is that there's going to be a battle between the cold and the warm. That spells unsettled weather and maybe some fluctuations in temperature as we get into next week. Certainly something we're going to have to watch closely, especially as we get into next Tuesday, next Wednesday, next Thursday. A reminder on that note, you can get the extended forecast looking out through the next 10 days, even away from the TV at AtlantaNewsFirst.com. You're taking a live look at the homepage right now, and we will click on the First Alert Weather tab. And that'll lead you to the forecast. Scroll down past the video forecast and the written text of today's weather. Click on 10-day, and you see right now we have 50s to near 60, but that could change. Data is kind of all over the place, just to put it directly, in regards to next week's forecast. So certainly there is some uncertainty there. All right, checking back in on Facebook, answering questions as they come in. You're very welcome, Alexander Foster. Hopefully that clarified it for you. Donna Moore Terrell, hello to you. Thanks for watching, and again, we'll go ahead and probably hop back to a look at radar this evening, and still some rain, but drier than it was earlier. We had pretty much a washout of a day today, still some rain, kind of moving around North Georgia, Metro Atlanta, but it's not as steady, certainly not nearly as heavy as it was earlier, but we still, as I zoom down into the city of Atlanta, have a little bit of light rain kind of moving in from the north and west. As an area of low pressure moves away, our winds will shift to the north and northwest. Some showers will drift in from the north and the northwest, but it's not widespread constant rain. It's more of a drizzle and an occasional light rain shower as the winds pick up and temperatures gradually cool by tomorrow morning out the door back into the upper 30s to near 40 here inside the metro and across the city of Atlanta. Again, that is tomorrow morning. So hopefully that kind of clarified the forecast for you. Again, next first alert is Wednesday, in particular first half of the day. Watching a line of rain and storms. Risk of severe weather greatest to the south, but at least some brief heavy rain, some thunder and lightning, and a low end risk of a strong storm or two, mainly south of I-20. That is your Wednesday impact. We'll continue to fine tune that forecast, pass along updates, not only on these digital weather conversations, but of course during newscasts on Atlanta News First anytime, 24/7 at AtlantaNewsFirst.com. Also in the First Alert weather app. So going to leave you with a live look at radar, looping for the past 45 minutes. Hope you have a wonderful evening, and we'll have some new data coming in. Complete check of your First Alert forecast coming up in about 39 minutes on Atlanta News First. You can stream that newscast anywhere you're streaming this weather forecast. Hope you have a wonderful evening. Keep an eye on Wednesday. First Alert, more rain and storms in the First Alert forecast.